Please note, we would like to make it very clear, we are totally against the form of discipline described in the articles and accounts being used on minors and non-consenting adults. Although some of these accounts are fictional, and others may be an exaggerated reality, none of them are too far from the truth of what really happened back in those days. If you are enjoying our stories, please do subscribe to this channel. We will be posting many more stories as time goes by. A well-spanked bottom. I was spanked quite often in front of company. Misbehave in front of company and you'll get spanked in front of company was the general rule in our house during the 50s when I grew up. But this one time was by far the most embarrassing punishment I ever received that was witnessed by others. My mother was a member of a bridge club of 8 women that met every Wednesday in alternating homes. When they congregated at our home, one very hot, humid night in Kansas City, I was 12 and was ordered, as usual, to stay upstairs and be quiet. I needed a glass of ice water real bad and risked going downstairs to get one. It was necessary to pass through the room where they had their card tables set up wearing only my pajama. When I peeked in and asked permission to get the ice water, I was rebuffed and told to drink from the bathroom faucet. I said that the water was too warm and I wanted some water from the fridge. My mom was always very strict about talking back, so she called me to her and slapped my face, then sent me to the corner to wait until their current game was completed. I went immediately, without question, knowing from past experience it only made my punishment worse. Corner time always preceded an inevitable spanking. My mom and her friends continued their bridge game, all the while discussing how they each spanked their naughty offspring for talking back. I'm in the corner sweating from the oppressive heat in the coming spanking and listening to how some of their kids got it much worse than I ever did. This continued for about the next 20 minutes. I heard how many spanks each of their offspring would get, what was the preferred implement, and in what position they were placed. It never occurred to me that my mom was inspired by their conversation to show off her spanking capabilities. After the game, she slid back in her chair and called me to her. I went meekly, begging her to forgive me and not spank me in front of everybody. She grabbed my arm and yanked me over her knees. Thankfully, she hooked her fingers under the seam of my underpants and pulled them all the way up tight between my cheeks. Holding on, she began one of the fastest barrages of full-armed spanks she ever delivered to my clenching, squirming bottom. When I reached back for some respite, she spanked my thighs just as soundly. She would always say that me covering my bottom must mean I would rather get it on my thighs. My bottom definitely magnified the stinging to become completely unbearable. A normal spanking from my mom meant 40 hard spanks. The severity was determined by what she used. She used anything that was flat or flexible. Being caught in a lie about misbehavior would double the 40 strokes, but with time in the corner between applications. I rarely got more than 80 spanks in all. This time she didn't stop at 40 and kept up the furious volley of spanks till I lost count. It seemed like well over 100. I was stood up, bawling, and told to go get her favorite wooden spoon. When I returned, the women were all commenting on how good a spanking my mom had administered. She said that was just the beginning. I was sent to the corner again, to hold the wooden spoon in both hands, while they got more refreshments. I stood there sobbing the whole time. When they all returned, I was again ordered front and center. Then my mom, slapping away my protective hands, reached and again pulled me over her lap. My head was practically on the floor. Then Mom started in with a flurry of spanks all around my bottom and upper thighs. I forgot all about the 7 women watching and kicked and twisted as much as possible. Mom slowed down to a steady, and harder, pace and made certain that I was completely red. Scolding accompanied this stage, along with promises from me to never talk back again.